This is the Roush Axleback exhaust with the chrome tips, and it does fit all 2024 and newer Mustang GTs not equipped with the active exhaust. Now you guys should be checking out this extremely popular Axleback if you're looking for a cool appearance with a ton of volume, along with a stellar build quality, all for right around that mid $800 price point. But let's not waste any more time and let's just jump right into that signature Roush tone you can expect here from this Axleback. And hey, as you heard with our sound clips, if you want volume, the Roush is certainly not going to disappoint. Now going to my patented and very official Wake the Neighbor scale, I got the Roush coming in hot at a very solid 4 out of 5 here, which by the way is pretty impressive for an Axleback by itself. Now keep in mind that is with the factory resonator still in place. If you ditch that in favor of an aftermarket X or H pipe, well then expect that number to go up even further. Now inside the car, you can't help but hear this thing while cruising. Certainly not whisper quiet, but I wouldn't really categorize it as offensive drone or anything that might steer people away from this very popular system. Now as always guys, a lot of good customer feedback on the site here in regards to the Roush Axleback. So definitely read up on some of those customer submitted reviews if you haven't done so already. All right, moving into construction, and this is a great time to talk about just how the Roush does achieve that very aggressive tone. And it really just boils down to the hollow chambered muffler design from Roush here that does allow for all of that flow and all of that volume, but without the use of any internal packing. And that's pretty cool to point out because that volume, that tone isn't going to change on you over the years like it might if you used a packed muffler design, which can sometimes blow out or change on you, altering the sound of your system over time. Not the case here. What you see is what you get, or I should say what you hear is what you get for many years to come. Now sticking with construction even further here guys, again this is an American made system, does boast 304 grade stainless steel throughout, which by far is the best when it comes to reducing corrosion long term. Now this does include a very small amount of mandrel bent tubing here guys, as you can see, and it also does include these beautiful quad tips etched with the Roush logo in a very subtle way. Now these are currently done in the more traditional polished or chrome finish, and I should note here guys that this is only going to fit non-active GTs if you have installed some sort of aftermarket lower valance that will make room for quad tips. If you currently have a single exhaust or non-active exhaust GT, chances are you have a single tailpipe or a single tip sticking out. Obviously that stock rear valance will not work for this system. So no big deal if you want to get this on your ride and you're thinking, well, how do I do that? You're in luck here at American Muscle. We have a ton of aftermarket valances available for your S650 that will make room for quad tips, and a lot of them are relatively affordable overall. So check those out and just know that no, you cannot install this on your stock non-active GT without some sort of modification. All right, moving into our pricing segment, because of the high quality American made build here, guys, along with that Roush name, you're gonna be paying a little bit more at the end of the day. In fact, this system is gonna come in right around, I would say, that mid to high $800 price point, making this one of the more expensive Axleback options currently available on the site for your non-active exhaust GT. All right, moving into our installation segment here, guys, and just like the S550, the S650 exhaust systems do require a bit of cutting if you're going with an Axleback. So with that said, just be ready with your Sawzall or your cutting tool of choice. Now, because there is a little bit more work involved, the site's gonna call this a solid 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you a couple of hours or so to complete from start to finish. Now to give you a better idea of what you're in for in the garage or driveway at home, here's our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, clip remover tool, flathead screwdriver, plastic pry tool, an extension, 7, 10, and 15 millimeter sockets, and a Sawzall. What's up guys? Today we're installing a quad tip Axleback exhaust and diffuser on our Mustang. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove the Axleback portion of your exhaust, and I'll meet you back here to continue with removing our rear diffuser.
All right, so once you have your Mustang in the air, either on the lift or jack stands, we're gonna mark our spot on the exhaust and we're gonna make our cut. Now you can take this entire exhaust off and cut it separately, but I think it's a little bit easier to cut it on the car, and it doesn't actually need to come off, so we can do it right on the car. Let's grab a Sharpie and make our mark. All right, so we're going to cut right after this 90-degree bend. You want to make sure that you're cutting in the straight section, and you want to give yourself as much of the straight section as you can for the exhaust to clamp onto. So our mark is going to go right at the end of the 90-degree bend and the beginning of this straight here. So right about this area. You can get a straight edge if you want to be more precise. All right, once our mark is made, we're grabbing our reciprocating saw and we're going to make our cut. Try to make sure your cut is as straight as you possibly can so your exhaust can slide over the pipe nicely. All right, at this point, we're going to remove the large muffler now that it is off the exhaust. We're going to take it out of the hanger here. If you don't want to take it out of the hanger, you can remove the two 13mm bolts that hold the hanger bracket on there. We're going to use one of these hanger tools to just push the posts out of the rubber hanger itself. Okay, now we can repeat that process on the other side. Again, we're going for the end of the 90. We're going to make a mark as straight as we can, all the way around. Just try to keep our cut as straight as possible. All right, now we can grab our saw and make our cut. I don't know if I said before, but make sure you're using the proper safety equipment, and you might want to grab a friend to put a hand on the muffler as you're cutting. So go ahead and make your cut. All right, go ahead and take your muffler out again. If you have a second set of hands here, it could be helpful. Just make sure you're careful as it's gonna fall as soon as it's loose.
So now we've got 9 screws across the back here. Take a 7mm socket and remove all of them. Do the same thing on the other side. Next, we're gonna hop up right above where we just pulled those 2 clips out of. We've got a 7mm screw here, and then there's one farther out that we're gonna have to access through the fender liner. So for the first 2, just grab your 7mm socket and pull those out. So next we're gonna come to the end of our diffuser here in our wheel well. We're gonna remove this clip, and that's gonna give us access to that screw. Now you're probably not gonna be able to see it, but once I get that out, I'll show you the hole where it came from. So get your clip remover tool in there, pop your clip out, and then you can pull back your fender liner enough to get your tool in there. And if we pull down, you can see that U-clip there, your hole there, where that screw came out of. Now next we're gonna hop underneath and disconnect this connector for our reverse light. So pull back, press in on that white tab here, and then just disconnect it. So now we're just left with a bunch of clips wrapping the length of our diffuser. I'm gonna start popping out the sides. Once I get towards the middle, I'm gonna grab myself a buddy to help me pull this off. Now we still have our parking sensors connected because we don't really have much access to get up in there. So we're just gonna have an extra set of hands to hold this while we go in there and disconnect our parking sensor. So you can start pulling out from the sides, and then we're gonna start pulling back. So now we have these clips. We've got 4 of them that are on our diffuser. Now these are pretty much impossible to get a camera angle of, but there's gonna be one right here. You can kind of see the white in between that gap. And then there's another one here, and there's one on each side. Now they're pointed this direction. There's gonna be a little tab on here that you're gonna have to push in, and then you can push this up. And then at that point, you can slide your tab out. So now, like I said before, we're not gonna be able to get a good camera angle underneath the car to see this clip. So I popped this clip into our new diffuser to show you how it's gonna be removed. You're gonna take a flathead screwdriver and you're gonna push in on that tab, and then you're gonna push up, and that's gonna pop your clip out. You've got 4 of these, so just do the same thing for all 4. So now guys, unfortunately we are gonna have to fully remove our rear bumper to get to those last 2 clips. I tried every angle I could get to and you just don't have access to it from underneath. Now luckily most of the work's already been done. We just gotta go into our wheel well, remove a couple more screws, and we can pop this off. All right, so now at our fender liner, we've got a screw in this hole. We've got a screw here, and then we've got a screw up top connecting our rear bumper to our quarter panel. So I've got a 7mm socket with an extension to get the one that's deep. And then I'm just gonna pop that extension off for the other 2. And then just push your fender liner back a little bit to get access to that last one. So now we just flip sides with the camera. We have these 2 screws. There's supposed to be one here as well that's missing. And then right above the connector for our side marker, there's supposed to be one there as well. That is also missing. So they're both still gonna be that 7mm socket. I've got the 2 here that I'm gonna remove. And then while we're over here, I'm just gonna disconnect that connector for the side marker. Just push in on that black tab and pull back, and then just do that same thing on the other side. So now I've got a buddy. We're gonna pop this bumper off. Now we do still have our parking sensors disconnected, so we're just gonna pull it back a little bit at first. I've got my clip remover tool. I've got some clips in there, and we'll disconnect those sensors. So grab from the side and just pull those clips out. Pop your bumper back. So now on the passenger side, now we have access to our main connector for the whole bumper harness. So just press in on that tab, pop that out, and then you can drop your bumper. So now we're gonna have to remove this black center section here to get access to those 2 clips. So I'm gonna start with popping all these clips for our wire harness off. So just grab a clip remover tool, get underneath those clips, wiggle it back and forth, pop it out. Now on the outside here, right next to our parking sensor, we gotta disconnect this clip, and then we also have this clip holding on our center bracket, so we'll grab that while we're here, and then you can do that same thing on the other side. And then over here, just pry that tab back. I'm gonna pull up on here while I release the tabs. And then coming back to the center, we've got these 2 clips here holding this in. Grab your clip remover tool, pry back on that. On both of these, get your wire harness out of the way, and then you can pop that out. And then now we finally have access to those last 2 clips. So just take your flathead and push in on that clip, and then push it from the bottom, pop those out. So now we're gonna have to remove our parking sensors as well as our reflector. So start off with the connectors, push down on that black tab, pop it out. And then we've got these 2 clips on each side. We're gonna pull these apart, and then we can just pop our sensor right out. Now it's very important to keep these sensors in the exact orientation they came out. So put them on a table nice and organized so you get them in the exact order. And then with those out, we're gonna remove our reflector. Just got a 10mm nut here we're gonna remove, and then we gotta pinch these 2 clips together to pop it out. 10mm socket for that. We've got one hand underneath, pinch that together and pull it out. And then do the same thing on the other side. And now last thing we need to remove from our diffuser is our reverse light. So we just got a bunch of 7mm screws here holding that in. Take your 7mm socket and pull them out. And then just lift this up and out of there. And now we're ready to pop that diffuser out. So we're just gonna work our way around, releasing all of our clips. Now, last thing we need off our stock diffuser is all of our U-clips here. So just get a flathead and get under the top side and just wiggle them off. And now on the outside of our diffuser, we've got 3 more. We've got the same thing on the other side. So now I've got our new diffuser here. We're gonna start by just popping these clips in. Make sure you get your holes lined up. Now we're gonna do that same thing on the outside here and do the same on the other side as well. So now I'm gonna take my rear bumper, line up the clips here, and drop it in. Make sure all of your connectors are out of the way. Start engaging your clips, and then we'll work our way out. And now around the outside, line up all your clips, and then press that down into place. Do the same thing on the other side. And now we can work on reinstalling our 2 parking sensors, our reflector, and we'll get those 2 white clips installed. Once again, make sure you're going in the same order that they came out. Press those into those clips, and then plug in your connector. Make sure both of your clips latch. And then the wire goes into that hook there. Next, we'll get our white clips. Clip those into place. And then grab your reflector. Make sure that clip and your stud line up. And then press that into place. Thread that nut on and take a 10mm socket, tighten it down. And then repeat that process on the other side. And now grab your reverse light, drop that into place. Thread in your 4 screws. Take your 7mm socket and tighten those down. And then grab your connector, press that in until you hear the click, and then you're gonna press down on that white locking tab. So now we're gonna come to the outside of our bumper here and reinstall our 3 screws. We've got more access to them now than when this is on the car. Just thread those in. And then grab your 7mm socket and tighten them all down. And then we can also plug in the connector for our side marker. We didn't have to remove that to get the bumper off, but better safe than sorry with wires. And next we can reinstall that center bracket. So just get your wires out of the way. Drop that down into place. We've got these 2 clips on the inside. Push those down to engage. And then get all those clips, clip those back into place. And then we'll work our way out. And then on the outside, we've got this clip here, and then the clip that's going into that bracket. Press that down until you hear that click. Press your clip in from the side and do the same thing on the other side. Now we can get our bumper back on the car. So we're gonna start off by plugging in our main connector, and then we can walk this into place. So now we're gonna line this up, press it into place, get this part in the gap of your tail light on both sides, give it a push, and then we'll work around the sides. So now along the side, we've got all of our clips here. We're gonna get the tabs of our bumper above all of this black plastic, get it lined up all the way across, and then just give it an open palm all the way across. All right, so now we're hopping back underneath the bumper. We're right next to our side marker here. We have that screw we're gonna need to reinstall. However, ours is missing. And then we've got the 3 here, of which I have 2. So I'm gonna thread in the 2 I have. You'll have 3 down here, 1 up top. And then take your 7mm socket and tighten all of those down. And then you can pop that fender liner back down and into place, and we'll install our next 3. And now we'll reinstall the bolt connecting our bumper to our quarter panel, and then our 2 in the fender liner. So now I'm just using my 7mm socket, try to get my thread started here. And then you can thread in your other 2. And then take that 7mm socket and tighten down all 3. And then we've got that one clip in our fender liner at the bottom and our 2 clips underneath. And then you can repeat that whole process on the other side. And now we're just gonna reinstall all of these 7mm screws across the bottom. Now the ones without the big washer on the head are going here and here. Just get these all started by hand and then take a 7mm socket and run them in. And then grab a 7mm socket, snug them all up. All right, so now we're on to our exhaust. So we're just gonna raise this up into our rubber isolator and then connect to our pipe. So slide one of your clamps on. You're gonna get this into the hanger first and then slide it onto your pipe. And then just get your clamp into place right on the edge of that pipe there and take a 15mm socket to tighten it down. Next we'll install our tips. Just grab another clamp, slide that on, get them straightened out, and then 15mm socket, tighten down your clamp. And repeat on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Roush Axleback exhaust installed with the Ford quad tip rear valence for your 2024 and newer Mustang GT without active exhaust. Thank you for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.